What's going on, college football fans, fanatic family? Listen, it's your boy Coach I, man. Listen, we have been MIA on the snap count for a minute, but it's that time of year where we have to talk about who we think gonna win it all, review some of the stuff from the previous year in the SEC, and talk about some headlines and all of that good jazz, man. So appreciate y'all rocking with us tonight, man. Got my guy coming on with me, and we're gonna get this thing rolling right now.
No, I got you on this one, Coach. It ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. The fanatic. But we keep it 100. We keep it real. That's the only way we know how to be. Talking that sports talk. You know what I'm saying? Straight out of South Carolina. Upstate. 864. Yeah. The FANATTIC. The fanatic where we keep it OG. We talking sports, so I call what I see.
That's right, it's your boy Coach I, man. We back here in the SEC Snap Count on the Fanatic Sports Network, man. If you're new to the channel, here on the Fanatic, we talk all SEC football and basketball all the time, including checking buckets on Thursday nights at 9 p.m., where we talk South Carolina women's basketball and the contenders in the SEC. On Tuesdays, we spread the hedges, man. Y'all see behind me, man. It's all dogs all the time. And then we get us some snap count in here to talk SEC football sometimes, man. So I'm going to go ahead and bring my guy up on with me, man. One of my partners from Respect the Hedges, brother from another mother, man. It's our guy, Shawty Parker. What's going on, Shawty?
Champ, what's happening?
Hey, man, it feels good to wear the hardware once again. Hey, man, these ring fingers filling up, man. You know what I'm saying? These ring fingers filling up.
Hey, you got some toes?
Listen, man, they want to get rid of the SEC championship game so the dogs can stop winning it.
No, Cole, like we said, we want it all, baby.
We want it all, man. We want it all, man. Listen, man, did you enjoy this weekend's college football championships?
Yeah, man, it was a lot of competitive football played. I was really impressed with what I saw.
Right, me too. It was some good games, man, and we're gonna get into all of that. Take a sneak peek at the CFP bracket and talk about the year that was in the SEC. Poetic Nomad, we appreciate you getting in. Say go dogs. B2A performance. That is right, man. It was B to A, man. And listen, hopefully that kind of win to get that monkey off our back and make this thing a little bit more balanced out on both sides. You see what I'm saying, man? Appreciate you getting in. So Saturday, man, listen, Duke and Virginia went back and forth. I thought Duke was gonna pull off on them, but then Virginia say, wait a minute, they came back, took it to overtime, but Duke ultimately got the dub. Do you think because Duke got the dub, that's why Miami got in the playoffs?
Yes. Because of that dub, not only did that let Miami slide in the door, it pushed Notre Dame out and also let in an extra FBS school in James Madison.
Right. So with the playoff committee, you think they was going to put an ACC team in one way or the other. If Virginia wins, then they are one of the highest 5 ranked. But since they didn't win, they said we got to have somebody from the ACC in the dance. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of helped Miami. So Miami should be sending Duke some popcorn and flowers or something.
and just in real talk, how can you be a representative of the ACC in Miami, go 10-2 back-to-back years and never make the playoff?
Bruh, that'd have been tough right there, dog. Not to make, but 10-2 back-to-back years and not to make the playoffs. That's tough right there.
Like, what is I supposed to do? I just got to win the whole thing just to make the playoffs. Is what they basically saying.
Hey, dog, but you got 10-2, but you didn't make your conference championship neither year though.
Yeah, but I'm just to that point. But look at Duke, 75. They in the conference championship.
Hey, because Duke say they know how to lose the right games though.
Okay.
Lose to the other conferences. Don't lose in your conference. That's what Duke said. You know what I'm saying? How about this? And then we're gonna jump on to the other conferences. How about Duke got a ACC football championship before Miami and Virginia Tech? And when Miami and Virginia Tech came from the Big East into the ACC, it was like, oh, we got us a good conference now. You know what I'm saying? Florida State was already carrying the torch. Clemson was on the rise. And neither one of them, I mean, now I know it's not the same Virginia Tech. I think James Franklin will do a little something to help that out. But Miami been in there all these years, dog. They went 1 year. They went to the championship 1 year, and that was when Mark Richt went there.
And what I would say is just to kind of go back to some things we've talked about in the past. Again, it's about when you get that right guy. Like, look what Duke doing. Look what BYU doing. Look what Texas. I mean, just across the country. Once you get that right guy in, things change drastically. And to Miami's point, granted, they haven't been to the ACC championship, but with Cristobal, they have been very consistent.
Right. And one of those guys you're talking about, look what he's doing, getting the right guy, Kurt Cignetti. Kurt Cignetti.
Yes.
Listen, man, Indiana was on historic runs of how bad they were. You know what I'm saying? Not like just bad overall, like bad, like historically in college football, how much losing they was doing. And in his first 2 years, he back not just conference champions this year. His first 2 years, he 2 for 2 going to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And where he has done in terms of his future trajectory, he not only has got a bump in salary, he has more time at that school, and he already got another job and they're ready to let him go.
Listen, I was about to say in this year, once Penn State let James Franklin go, then LSU, then Florida, Arkansas, all these jobs, like Indiana went ahead and hurried up and signed Kurt Cignetti because he was a hot commodity, and we can see why. You know what I'm saying? In the Big Ten championship game, it was another thriller. I thought we was gonna get some overtime there, but they field goal kicker seems to have problems in the biggest moments, and we've seen that before in 2022 against the Dogs. Not the same guy, but same position, man. Like, that was a chip shot, Shawty. Like, bro, I ain't for taking people's scholarships, but definitely he shouldn't see the field no more.
Hey, and I'm gonna tell you what, Coach. I'm saying it kind of tongue in cheek, but if you ever go to a practice, I hate to say it, but kickers ain't doing nothing but chilling. So if you ain't ready, you know what I'm saying, you can't get ready at the last minute. Call all practice. You just chilling until your period comes. Other than that, you can't flag and turf football with the rest of the kickers because you ain't got nothing to do.
That's what I'm saying, dog. And from all accounts, he was a pretty good kicker. You know what I'm saying? And when I say chip shot, I want to say that was about as close as an extra point, though. I think maybe a yard or two, behind the extra point. And he wasn't even close.
A lot of pressure too, man. A lot of pressure.
Hey, man, that's why you go to Ohio State, right? You know what I'm saying? That's why you go to these big time schools, man. You get to play in those type of games. We always say that.
And think about this. I'm not making excuses for. I'm just talking about the psyche of the kicker. Think about this. Right. You played for Ohio State, Coach. You ain't been in that problem all year long. You coming off, you just been kicking to be kicking, going through the motion.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Now all of a sudden, it the last game of the season, it all on you. You know what I'm saying? Shit, that's
pressure. Hey, something that speaks to something that Kirby does here and there during the season that I don't care for it, but I understand why he does it. Every and now and then he has our kicker, regardless of who it is, when we do a kickoff, angle kick, try to get it right in the corner so that they do have a chance to return. Because he says if you always kick it out of the end zone, that one time that you're not trying to, give them a return and they return, now your kickoff team don't know how to stay in their lanes. You know what I'm saying? Kind of similar principle. You know what I'm saying? If you always kicking it out of bounds out through the end zone, then you in that game in the conference championship and you don't kick it out the end zone and they return one on you.
And get what, Coach, to that same point, just not being put in those familiar situations because it's very rare that it happens. Shit, you might have to make the tackle. You know what I'm saying? Kicker might have to make the tackle.
Right. So with that Big Ten championship game, did you see that going like low scoring? I actually thought both teams had a chance to win, but I definitely didn't see 13-10. I saw more 31-28, 38-31, something like that.
No, what I think truly happened, just in my opinion, I think it kind of exposed both teams. I don't think neither team is as good as I thought they were going into the game. Because the way that Ohio State roster is set up, I mean, it's just too explosive. It's no way that they should have scored 10 points. So I think a lot of things had to go wrong. I really think that was – let me take that back. I don't think it was necessary to show that neither team was as good as I thought they were. I just want to call that a one-off because Ohio State roster is too good. I just don't see that happening again. I think if that same game would have happened again, I think Ohio State may beat them by 2 touchdowns.
I think I came away from the game saying that Indiana's defense was better than I thought it was, and that Ohio State talent-wise, they of course we see it every year in the recruit rankings and the transfer report and all that. So that's undeniable. But that was the Ohio State. Outside of the first game against Texas, and we saw how up and down Texas offense was. Outside of that game, they hadn't played anybody. I know people talk about Indiana's schedule, but Indiana went to Outson and beat Oregon and, really wasn't even looking back, to be honest with you. So they had at least been in one of those top matchups, whereas Ohio State, again, I guess you can count Texas because Texas.
Michigan. Could be Michigan,
yeah,
Texas.
Yeah, I mean.
Solid wins.
It was solid wins, but it ain't like going to Outson. You see what I'm saying? Going into Outson. So, and they pretty much, stifled Ohio State defense. Now, again, if they play again, would Ohio State be able to score? I would assume with that kind of talent that it would. And I know Ohio State fans that catch this probably say, well, we shut down their offense too. True. That is true. But I expect that because of the talent level. You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering how many 4 and 5 stars Indiana got versus the 4 and 5 stars, Ohio State got. See what I'm saying? See why it's a little bit more impressive when Indiana does it to Ohio State. So
we learn more about Indiana.
That's what I took from the game. I was like, they gotta, their offense might be able to be slowed down, but their defense, it don't look like you're gonna be able to run on them. So I'm interested to see how they got the winner of Alabama and Oklahoma, who neither one can really run the ball. So regardless of who wins, Indiana defense going to continue to look like a stalwart when it comes to the run. You know what I'm saying? So that might be but that's like regardless of who they match up with, and we're going to get into that. Official Boomer, what's going on? It says, Shawty, Bama schemes look real outdated.
Listen, let them tell it. Georgia the one got the outdated defense. You know what I'm saying?
That's what they was telling us at the beginning of the year, didn't they, Shawty? You know what I'm saying? So, hey, man, but yeah, I came away from that Big Ten championship thinking Indiana's defense, out of all phases of the game, Indiana defense was the most impressive on Saturday night. So we'll see how that play out. You know what I'm saying? Going
Hold on,
forward.
Coach, what you just said, Coach?
Indiana defense in that Big 12 championship.
Oh, okay.
I mean, Big 10 championship was the most impressive unit out of the offenses and both defense, special teams. For me, Indiana's defense was the most impressive unit. Again, to do that to, you know what I'm saying, to do that to Ohio State with the talent that they got, you know what I'm saying?
I agree.
So,
yeah.
And it speaks to Kurt Signetti and the job that he doing up there. Like, hey, man, Kurt Signetti, not for that, man. He ain't short of confidence up there.
And what I hate to say is, I don't want to, poop on Ohio State head coach, but he's having he has a pattern again outcoached in big games. And that trend continues. Now he did win in Natty last year, but just in general, for the most part, he generally get outcoached in big games.
So we're gonna see, going forward how that is, because there's a team that he may be matched up with, who we could say that about their coach as well. Now the Big 12 championship, Texas Tech left no doubt, run it up Herman. You know what I'm saying? They beat BYU down the first time. I want to say they caused 4 turnovers in the first game, or 3 turnovers in the first game, and then caused 4 or 5 in the Big 12 championship. Like, is Texas Tech that good, or is Big 12, the gap between Texas Tech and BYU, that massive?
I think you just said something where 2 things can be true.
Okay. Because
I think that the talent gap is that massive, because Texas Tech has like a $24 million roster this year. So
Buckets award winner at linebacker, if I'm not mistaken, or at least
right. No, I think he won it.
Okay.
Without one game out of what he's a finalist.
I think he won it, but you're right. If he didn't win it, he gonna win it.
Right. And for some reason, I thought they said during the game that he won it.
I thought they said during the game that he won too. You're right. So, but they got a roster, dog.
Yeah, but the point, that's to that point, you're talking about a 22-23 million dollar roster probably versus a $14 million roster. You know what I'm saying? In BYU. So it just, I think to your point, two things can be true. I do think the talent gap on this particular year has widened toward Texas Tech because of the influx of their NIL and the money they spent on the roster.
Right. And while I was watching some of that game, I came away thinking they spent most of that money. Again, they have a good offense, but it seemed like they spent most of that money on their defense because the defense really wasn't giving up jack. Whereas the offense, sometimes during that game sputtered. That's not to say that BYU don't have a good defense, but not like, we're going to shut you down the whole time type defense where, Kalani Sitake, their head coach, Penn State tried to get him, swing and a miss on that one. He said he's staying put, at BYU. But it just looked like sometimes Texas Tech, couldn't get it started. Then they would be good on offense. Then it was like an up and down roller coaster, man. So, but when I watched the defense was consistent all night. That, for a couple of years, Shawty, there was offenses was killing defenses across college football, like across college football. LSU 2019, Clemson 2018, Alabama 2020, and then it's like defense is slowly like that 2021 Georgia team, and then Michigan in 2023, and then Ohio State last year. Like defenses seem like they getting back in their thing, man. Like, hey,
I don't, you know why, Coach? And I've been saying it go back to my principal point. The quarterback play is going down and down and down. Because the trigger man.
Because of them 7-on-7 principles. And you could be right. I know a lot more teams are playing too high safety, but then there's teams I just feel like, the running game is really coming back to the forefront of offenses. And I think that kind of helps defenses keep the numbers low as well. But you're seeing a lot of these elite teams. I ain't talking about the middle of the pack teams, but a lot of these elite teams. We just go through the field of the playoffs. Almost all these teams got elite defenses. You know what I'm saying?
The world of elite quarterbacks. That's the
elite quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. The quarterback play. It's so much easier to game plans as a coordinator when you can make these particular types of quarterbacks one-dimensional.
Right. We ain't got no more CJ Strouds and Deshaun Watsons.
Right.
Lawrence, I got you. Stetson Bennett.
Right. The guy that can hurt you both ways, that make you play true 11-on-11. One of the few quarterbacks does that is Chambliss at Ole Miss. He's one of those quarterbacks that make you play true 11-on-11 football.
He's what I consider a true dual threat because he's just as good with his legs as he is with his arm. A lot of these guys that are considered dual threat, like to your point, if you take away their legs, they can't beat you with their arms. I feel like Chambliss, if he just sat in the pocket, could still beat you with his arm. You know what I'm saying? What's going on, Latoya? Getting in here, Latoya Bills, getting in here. Appreciate you coming in, showing some love. She said, hey, Coach I, hey, Shawty, we appreciate you showing up for us. Just in here talking about some conference championship weekend this past weekend, talking about Texas Tech beating up on BYU again. Now, we're going to get into the who made the playoffs and all of that, and that's going to bring back this Big 12 championship. I got a thought about, why BYU didn't get in or should they have gotten in and things like that. Now, the championship that we're going to get into real detail tomorrow. If you want to hear the in-depth detail, which for me, Shawty, and the rest of the Respect the Hedges guys on the SEC championship, we'll get into that tomorrow. But just some overall general thoughts, Shawty, on the SEC championship on Saturday.
I think we saw the two best teams in the conference at the particular time. I think there was a situation where Bama caught a UGA team who is peaking.
Right.
I think we were just more physical than they were. We looked more prepared, and we just beat them in all three phases of the game. That's something that, you strive to do as an offense. As a team, and Bama just came in lacking. When you get beat in all three phases, it's going to be hard to win.
Right. And their defense put up a fight, but, when you go 3 and out, I want to say they had 11 drives and 8 of them was less than 4 plays. When you do that, their defense take a beating fatigue-wise. You know what I'm saying? So whenever in a couple of cases where they did slow us down, and then it was like, as soon as they get back to the sideline, they like, man, I ain't even sat down, took my helmet off, dog. I gotta go right back on the field. You know what I'm saying?
This,
It's like,
which was the polar opposite from when we played them at Athens. Didn't they have like
yes.
11 straight first downs or something like that?
It was something crazy like that.
14
Their first,
something like that.
their first 3 drives were 12 plus plays, and they all scored. They scored on all of them in Athens. So that was our defense being on the field. And then even though we didn't have those type of drives Saturday, we still was able to sustain long enough to flip the field. You know what I'm saying? And then their defense was just out on the field, out on the field, out on the field, out on the field.
We definitely outcoached in this game.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like there was times where Ryan Grubb, like he had no idea where any of the pressure was coming from or any of that thing like that. Toya says our offense is our biggest defense's biggest opponents. Biggest odds. Right. For sure. Like they couldn't sustain anything. And then even when they got a drive going, then it became 3rd and 2. Either Ryan Grubb would give a bad play call or Ty would try to press it and aim the ball and hit the ground. And I'm like, yeah, they just didn't look in sync for sure last night. Both teams came limping in. You know, we didn't know what to expect without Drew Bobo at center. You know, Chauncey Bowens tried to go. He got hurt. Noah Thomas lined up on the first drive, and then he having back spasm. He gone. Then LT Overton didn't play for Alabama. Then they had a linebacker go down in the set. Like, you know, me and you and the fellas talked about, you know, some of the other fellas didn't really want to play. You know, they not that they didn't want to play in the SEC championship. They could have took it or leave it because the injuries, you know what I'm saying, that might happen. But a lot of the injuries that showed they reared their ugly head on Saturday for both of these teams actually happened before the game. You know what I'm saying? So now, like I say, a couple of guys on both sides went down during the game, but most of that happened during practice or leading up to it. It looked like a triage out there. So
what I'm saying, man, football is a contact sport, man. You can't be talking about saving nobody for this, and man, you can get hurt. You know what I'm saying? Putting your cleats on, walking out. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it just you got to play when it's time to play, man. And fortunately, to one of the points that I'm making, it's good that we did win the SEC championship because now we don't play, I think, until January, like with 6 or something like that.
January 1st. January
1st. So we got a good time. We got a lot of time to heal up and get guys back.
Right. So before we jump into looking at the playoffs, man, let's talk about the SEC in 2025, man. We came in this year. Of course, Georgia was one of the favorites. Bama was one of the favorites. Florida was a hot topic because of DJ Lagway winning like 4 of his last 5 games last year. South Carolina was a hot topic, saying they had a chance because of Lenore Sellers. Just what's a storyline that you felt like you know, really they missed the boat on?
In terms of the entire SEC this year?
Yeah.
Man, that's a very good question.
I mean, it's a lot of them.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you what surprised me that I didn't hear a lot about.
What?
Nussmeier.
Ooh.
Once they got the new head coach in, the interim head coach in, Nussmeier just disappeared. We're talking about a Heisman caliber quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have another year, right?
No.
He just disappeared. Like, where is he? What's going on with him? He just disappeared.
So what happened, from what I know, at the beginning of the season, he wasn't 100% going into the Clemson game, and then took some shots in the Clemson game. And then they continued to play him instead of rest him, even in the early goings of the season. And by the time they hit midseason, like I want to say it was like some real issues, so he couldn't like really put no torque on the ball. And then, you know, it had been going on so long to the middle of the season. Then, you know, now your mechanics is off. You know, you ain't got no running game. They just totally did a total 180, dog. Last year they couldn't stop running water. Came in this year with one of the best secondaries in the nation, and they had a pretty good run defense, but they could not score on anybody. Like no matter what happened.
So how does that work out? You know, I know Chip Kelly's gone now, but like this kid, again, no more eligibility left. Like, how much money did he mess up? Like someone has to be able to say to him, whether it be agent, someone on his team, look at man, like at some point you just gotta throttle it down and get ready to go make this money.
See, that's what I was thinking. Like, okay, if I'm the coach, if I'm Brian Kelly, I'm like, okay, we got a cupcake game in here somewhere. I can sit you. You know what I'm saying? And maybe even a P4 game or a G5 game that I think I should be able to win, but you can be ready if we need you type stuff. But he never seemed to take that approach. I got E-Rob getting in. It says F the Gators. Appreciate you getting in. That's all day, every day, E-Rob. You already know what it is.
I don't know if you see the picture, but them boots Kirby got on are Gator boots.
Hey, them Gator boots, you know.
Gator boots. He got on a tiger. That's a tiger. You know what I'm saying? We got them all in there, baby.
Right. So I just feel like there was, and then on the other side, like you said, from his camp, like you see, like he has to have an agent. He has to have, a manager, whether it's a family member, friend, whatever, professional. Somebody got to say, "Hey, whoa, we're messing up draft money now."
Right.
Because he came into the year as probably the favorite Heisman candidate and probably the favorite to be number one quarterback draft.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know where he's going to go now. He's going to have to have a really good pro day, combine if he gets invited. I honestly don't know. You know what I'm saying? And that's a good call out. Latoya said it's proven we're the best conference. We have 5 teams in the top 10 of the playoffs. That's right, man. Listen, I was telling somebody the other day, man, they was talking about, they was like, well, a lot of people be like SEC. And this is how I feel about when people say the SEC ain't the best conference. It ain't that we got 16 good teams. That is far from the case. But Caleb Downs said it best earlier in the week. He said that he's played in the SEC, he's played in Big Ten. He said every week you're playing dudes. He didn't say every week you playing good teams.
Right.
He said every week you playing dudes. And he said, but in the Big Ten, you got about 4 or 5 games. Now, he did say the Big Ten, his first year, beat more SEC teams. But, those are bowl games. But both teams, right. But both teams, good players, sit a lot of people, not from the Big Ten side and from the SEC side. And I've always said the reason why the SEC is the best conference is not because of the teams, but because whether you want to look at recruit rankings or draft picks, whether they're coming into college or leaving college, the SEC just has better talent overall. You know what I'm saying? Kentucky's got a first 3 rounder on defense right now, and Kentucky sucks. You know what I'm saying? Rutgers probably ain't got no first 3 rounder. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference in the SEC every week. So that's a good call out, I tell you. What else we got in here? B Jammin say, y'all, all these Notre Dame channels are cracking me up with all the crying and blaming every team in the SEC. Brian Kelly truly belongs back with them. Listen, man, I've been seeing a lot of the Notre Dame. Listen, we're going to talk about them not getting in and turning down bowls and all that stuff. I'm interested to hear your take when we get to that point, man, that Notre Dame, you know what I'm saying, not participating. So Latoya said Arch Manning wasn't who we thought he was. This goes back to those storylines of the SEC not panning out. Arch Manning wasn't who we thought he was going to be. Texas came in number 1 in the country because of who they thought he was going to be, despite Ohio State being the national champions. I'm with that. I'm always with it. Listen, you come back, I feel like you win a national championship the next year preseason because we haven't seen any team. I don't care who you tell me they done lost, they done gained, all that. You won the national championship, you should be number 1 the next year.
Right.
In the preseason when we haven't seen anything. Now, I will say I think Arch got a little better, Shawty.
He did.
Throughout the year. But he still, to Toya's point, didn't hit the expectations. Not the expectations he set, but the expectations the media set.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I just think the expectations were so high for a kid that had not had a lot of game experience. Right. But to Arch Manning's credit, as the season went on and he gained that experience, he did get better. So I think the expectation for him coming into the next season would be a little bit more tempered. But I also, at the same time, think he'll be a much better player.
Right. More snaps as the starter. You know what I'm saying? We saw him in sparing.
No different than Gunner.
Right. saw him in sparing moments
without the
last year.
expectations.
Yeah, Gunner, right. Gunner actually was the opposite, came in as one of the lowest rated quarterbacks, lowest hype man, hyped up quarterbacks coming into the year. And both of them came in with pretty much about the same amount of snaps. You know what I'm saying? Now Arch did get to start a game against like a FCS school or something last year, you know, when Quinn Ewers was hurt. But I think going into the year next year, like you said, they will expect more than this year's production, but the hype won't be as high as it was coming. I mean, I think them Powell Feinbaum say he's the best quarterback prospect since Tim Tebow, and I'm like, dog, you didn't see the dude play college, really, man. You called him the next Tim Tebow.
You know what's going to be interesting, Coach? I haven't had a chance lately to look at their roster, but I wonder if he's going to have to carry that roster, because this year I think he had the roster to help carry him. He just wasn't good enough. But next year he's going to have to maybe possibly carry that roster and make some of those explosive players and high caliber players they have shine.
It's going to be
they got players.
They got players. CJ Baxter is already said he's rumored to hit the portal, or he's already hit the portal. I think their running back who had a good year 2 years ago, but then got hurt last year and came back this year, didn't really get his feet back under him. Texas, one thing I'm gonna say about Texas roster, they got players all over the roster. At wide receiver, though, I need those young guys that was coming on towards the end of the season to step up, because Ringos and I forget the other guy, like they athletes, but they ain't like great wide receivers. You see what I'm saying? Like they ain't got natural hands. They don't get in and out of their breaks, fluidly. So the younger guys are a little bit better. So I'm interested, because Ryan Wingo's a sophomore. So I'm interested to see, how all that play out. But going into next year, we'll see what Texas got. So B Jammin says Vandy's head coach is not crying at all. He really wasn't. He said, here we're gonna play an our bowl game because here we love to play football. Hey, they was trying to get a 13th game, Shawty. They was trying to impress the committee.
I don't blame them. Like, I don't want to jump the gun, but that's kind of, matter of fact, I'm not going to jump the gun, but I am going to kind of scratch it a little bit. I'm going to put my finger on the trigger. But that's kind of the point. What I want to get into, like look at this head coach mentality.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do you understand, like, Vandy's ranked, I think, 14th?
Yeah.
So even though Notre Dame didn't get in the playoffs, you have a chance to get matched up against a team like Vandy.
Who
I'm start right there, because I don't want to get too deep into that to you.
But to your credit, I was thinking the same thing, because Vandy, I can guarantee you, because of this type of stuff that Bama B Jammin put out there about Vandy's head coach not crying, he want to play more football. So I think Pavia, this is last year, Pavia gonna play in that bowl game. A lot of that, I'm not saying they're not gonna have no opt-outs, but I can guarantee it's gonna be minimal, if any at all. So not only do your seniors get to play another game, the ones that don't have a future in football, you also get time to practice with your young players to get ready for the next year. Like, this a lot, you listen a lot of that practice time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like to your point, to go against another, top tier program.
To prove yourself to recruits and everybody else.
So, Toya said, much respect to Lee, man. That's what I'm talking about. Like, I just think it, like what you said, it shows why their program is trending upward.
And again, I hate to say it, they jump on me, but when you get the right guy, all that other stuff, it follows, it come into place.
That's right.
It really truly seems like Vanderbilt has found their right guy in their alumni head coach, and the administration is also putting those resources toward that guy. So you see it all coming together.
Right, and Vandy's got money. They've been sitting on all that SEC money, ain't doing that. Now they got some kind of several hundred million football sports complex being built, and got their guy, and like you say, their alma mater guy that done played for them, bled black and gold, and all of that good jazz. So it seems to be going the way that they want to, in Nashville right now. So Latoya, we're here. If you're just joining us, We're here to talk SEC storylines and the SEC season in review and take a sneak peek at the college football playoffs. Currently, we're still in the storyline portion of the show. Toya points out another one, and this was one that was really talked about at SEC media days and in the preseason. Another storyline that was missed bad. Bama has a Joe Moore Award O-line. I think a lot of that had to do with Parker Brailsford and Caden Proctor, and it just hadn't panned out like that. Now, they did go through some injuries and some shuffling of the line, but overall, you know, and I was telling the Alabama guys this on the show the other day, when you at the points of Georgia and Bama and Ohio State and, you know, the LSU, like, you don't get to say, hey, man, we was hurt.
So
you know, so, yeah, it's like, so what? Who cares? Next man up. So that's a good call out. So
if it ain't the quarterback, you don't recognize nobody else.
Right. That's it. Like, unless your quarterback out, that's the only thing you got. But, you know, now to this point, if you talk to Cole Kubler, who's former SEC offensive lineman at Auburn back in the day, he always does like an O-line preview for the SEC in the preseason. He said that Bama was going to be up there, but he also said the Dogs O-line was going to be the best O-line in the conference. Now, I won't say that's a miss, but at the beginning of the season, it was rough, Shawty.
And I agree with that. It just, you know, it was. I think our O-line, the potential was just based off the health. Like if we could have stayed healthy, I agree, we would have been one of the best linemen. But throughout the beginning of the season, you know, we had to rotate a lot of guys. They were partially healthy and not good. So that's why we saw some of the deficiencies that we saw, because we was rotating guys. A lot of guys had to be what I like to say cross-trained. Meaning we playing tackles at guard, we playing guards at tackles, you know what I'm saying, centers at guard. So, you know, we have a lot of guys that were cross-trained, and we were never able to develop a cohesiveness that our offensive line needs to develop until later towards the season.
Right, and you saw that increase. Shout out to O-line coach Stacey Searles as the health increased, as the young reps became mid-season reps, and now they're not true freshmen. You know, it started to gel a little bit. We still missing some, but it definitely looks better. B. Jamin say we just buying time waiting on D'Amico Ryans to come back home.
He had coach at the Texans, right?
The Texans, yeah.
Oh, but you better set up top somewhere. They ain't gonna be a minute.
Right. B. Jamin, be careful. You know how people start these rumors. They be saying B. Jamin say Caleb DeBoer out of there. But let me ask you a serious question, B. Jamin. If Caleb DeBoer was to say, you know what, Bama and me, we just ain't vibing right now, is D'Amico Ryans your top choice to replace him? I'm not saying that D'Amico would lead the Texans and nothing like that, but is that somebody you really would want to come back? I like D'Amico Ryans. I'm just saying. I mean, I
just don't know how realistic it is, but I like it.
Right, but he did play at Bama, so you know. That's interesting. Keith Holcomb in the building. We appreciate you getting in, Keith. He said roll tide. He said roll tide earlier. My bad, Keith.
Then what I'm gonna tell B Jam. Listen, this what I'm gonna say. I like to do addition by subtraction. So the folks who be me, meaning Georgia, I'm trying to get somebody out there roster like Glenn Schumann. I'm like, so I can subtract from Georgia and add to my team. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of stuff I like to do.
Kind of like recruiting. Sometimes you may not, right? You might not be going to play a guy, but you don't want the other team to play a guy either. So
right,
that's interesting. But you know, I think Caleb DeBoer is a different cup of tea. You know, and for those true diehard Bama people, it's such a stark difference between his coaching style and philosophy and Nick Saban. Nick Saban is, you know, it was very apparent in his post game where he blamed a lot of the injuries. Now, again, those injuries were correct. You know, he listed a lot of injuries, and those injuries were correct. But I don't see Nick Saban doing that. You know, Nick Saban is like, oh, we got to execute on third down. You know, he just gonna come in there and tell you what it is. Whereas, you know, Caleb DeBoer, I ain't saying he was making excuses after the SEC championship, but he didn't seem like he was taking a lot of accountability for a lot of, you know, like a Saban would. And I think Caleb DeBoer is a good coach. I just think he's a different slice of pie. And the question is Alabama Nation gonna allow him to, you know, indoctrinate him into how he coaches less physicality. I mean, the defense played good, but you saw the offense. It definitely ain't as physical as like under Saban. You know what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, if you could take Kalen DeBoer
Mm-hmm.
and infuse him with Fran Braun personality, man.
Fred Brown, yeah, boy. Fred Brown got that personality.
Man,
yeah,
bro, it'll be a problem. You'll have a problem.
Oh, Keith Oakham say our O line may not be an issue next year. From what I hear. Listen, I feel like some staff changes is definitely coming for the offense.
Who he talking about? What team?
Alabama.
Okay.
Because to be at Bama and not be able to run the ball for a whole year consistently, like that's like even in the bad Bama days, they had running backs though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
that's a philosophy. That's
like,
Kalen DeBoer.
Like Mike Price was able to run the ball.
you know what I'm saying? That's philosophy. That's Kalen DeBoer with his West Coast style. You have to make a commitment to run the ball. You just can't run the ball just to be trying to run it. There has to be a commitment to it, and that's not Kalen DeBoer's style.
Right. Trojan Fight getting in. What's going on, my guy? Appreciate you pulling up, our resident USC Trojan fan. I know, we talking about the SEC and Rewind, but he supports the channel. Trojan Fight, how you feeling about how the regular season ended for your Trojans, man? You like where Lincoln got the program? Does he need to increase? I mean, is he where you wanted him to be at this point in time? So Latoya says she thinks Bama needs a defensive-minded head coach, but I don't want to lose the boy. He needs to reevaluate Grubb, though. It is Grubb's first year in the SEC. That is true because Grubb went and coached in the NFL, Kalen DeBoer's first year. And he did retain the guy. I forgot the guy's OC from last year. Kalen DeBoer did retain him as so-called co-OC. I don't know how much play calling he doing though. But yeah.
I'm gonna tell you like I tell my Oklahoma fans. That's y'all fault for going to get these damn coaches who training on the job.
Look at Tony come in.
See what I'm talking about? Yeah, exactly. They don't get that. But y'all can't go get these coordinators that's gonna be training on the job. And one of the first thing you want to say, this their first year in the SEC, they get acclimated and all that. Man, you got too much money. You need to go get somebody who ready.
But see, from what I gather from the people I'm around, the Bama people, they ain't too high on Ryan Grubb, though. And Ryan Grubb offense is albeit on the West Coast, was putting up numbers and stuff, but it's a little bit different when you come down here to the trench mob. You know what I'm saying? The SEC, the trench mob. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't got it in the trenches, I don't care who you do it, what you got on the outside. So other storylines in the SEC that didn't pan out. Lenora Sellers at South Carolina and DJ Lagway at Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Joey Aguilar came in after transferring from App State, did about 2 weeks at UCLA, and then they lost Nico, and everybody thought all was gone.
Mm-hmm.
So you had the two guys that was hyped up. You know what I'm saying? It's like it was hyped up. You had the Laura Sellers and DJ Lagway. You had Joey Aguilar come in who wasn't receiving any hype whatsoever. It's kind of like a Gunnar Stockton. And Gunnar Stockton, the two guys that didn't receive any hype, way outplayed the expectation. Whereas the other two guys, I mean, I ain't gonna lie, Shawty, it's got me questioning whether or not these dudes can actually play quarterback at all.
Well, Coach, you already know my theory on. I told they products are 7-on-7. Somebody already kind of, I don't know if they were talking about this particular comment we talking about. I mean, topic we talking about, but I just think these guys are products of 7-on-7 football, and they are being misevaluated at the high school level. I really think that's what it boils down to. Got you. Ryman Lemon, appreciate you getting in. He said, never trust a quarterback named DJ. I can't agree with that. We had a DJ Shockley that won us.
Right, DJ Shockley did that thing for us, man. He only got 1 year under the helm, took us to the SEC championship, won it, and if he hadn't have been hurt in that one game in the season, I think we would have been in position to be right there in the mix for the BCS. But I get you, Ryman. I get you. Trojan Fight says this has to be Alabama's worst running offense since 1945.
Yeah.
Saturday's performance was the worst since 1945. As far as the season, Trojan Fight, I'd have to let Latoya or Keith or B Jamming in the comments tell you when the last time they had. Again, I remember again. I don't remember what the numbers was, but I don't remember there being a super problem running the ball for Mike Shula and Mike Price and Bama wasn't even good under the mics.
And I want to say one other thing, and I don't want to get too off kilter here, but I just want to go back to that 7-on-7 thing. Like, if I was a parent and my child, if me being a player, and I see that's the kind of style he's been playing, especially if he's coming from high school, I'm not going to send him to college to that style offense because I know it doesn't translate to the next level. So I'm going to send my child to someone who has some semblance of a pro style offense. I don't want you to be doing no one read, putting it in the belly, throwing the slant.
Right.
I'm fine. I don't need none of that. I want you to be able to read defense, even if it's half field. I need you to be able to read defenses. So I'm sending my child to somewhat of a pro style offense.
Right. Worst case scenario, you send them to Josh Heupel, and what I'm saying, let them read. Like say now. Again, they read the full field sometimes, but most times it's just half field. But at least they can read half the field. You know what I'm saying? SEC storylines that missed before we talk about the CFP bracket. Listen, man, we talking about those two quarterbacks, Sonora Sellers and DJ Lagway. Man, dude just did not pan out. Surfer Dog, appreciate you getting in. When you say shot Gunner, listen, man, yeah, they did. They in the preseason, they had like Gunner was like chopped liver. You know what I'm saying? It's like he was bottom out of the 16 quarterbacks. He was in the bottom 4 to 6 in every preseason so-called QB rankings, whether it be SEC or national pundits or whatever. Man, it was crazy, man. It's like, but run the ball is all Shula would do, right? Which it wasn't good at the time, but he could run the ball. You know what I'm saying? So. Bama is known for running backs and defense.
You don't have. I don't care if you can't run the ball. It's about making the commitment.
Right, like Saturday, I felt like they only ran the ball. I think the running backs got a total of like 15 carries or something like that. Even if you not running the ball effectively, you still got to give them the carries to keep the defense honest. Because when you just say forget it, then we know you're gonna pass. Now we can just send the house after your quarterback. So. B. Jamin said, who is UGA's next QB after Gunner leaves? That is a intriguing question, B. Jamin, because currently we got 3 on the roster. We got Ryan Puglisi, 4-star. He is currently considered the incumbent. He's more of a gunner type. I would say, he's a rotational, a straight line thrower. He can run. I want to say he's a slightly more athletic than Gunner, but Gunner has better, I would say, hold on the offense. That could be because of reps. I don't know, but Gunner ain't gonna put the ball in harm's way for what I can see, as much as Pugs would. But that could just be youth. Now behind Pugs was class of 2024. Class of 2025 was Ryan Montgomery. I feel like Ryan Montgomery personally is the best passer in the room. That includes Gunner, Pugs, and Hezekiah Melinder. Hezekiah Melinder came in with Ryan Montgomery, and he's the dual threat but he's the more raw of the talent. So if I had to say right now, like if Gunner was to go down in the playoffs, which we don't want to happen, then of course it's Pugs. But if Ryan Montgomery is who I think he is, I think he's going to give Pugs a real go for it once Gunner's gone, because Gunner has another year.
There you go, Alvin. There you go.
Right. Gunner has another year. So if Gunner was leaving this year, it would be Ryan Puglisi, no question. But because Ryan Montgomery is going to have another year, I think I personally would pick Ryan Montgomery. What about you, Sean?
I'm kind of on the same wavelength. Just for more context, we have to understand that Gunner has another year, so we are projecting 2 years out. Right. I like Pugs, but honestly, from what I've seen of the two, I think with the way that we run our offense, that Montgomery may have a chance to overtake Pugs.
Right. Again, that's we got another season barring injury of Gunner, so it's going to be interesting.
And more recruits to come in to somebody talking about the kid from, I think he's talking about the kid from IMG, who's a stud, the black quarterback we recruiting for IMG for 27. But we also have the another top quarterback from 2016 too. So it's a lot. It's a lot of moving parts between 9 and 2 years. But just based off what we see, I'm with Coach. I like Montgomery.
So Ryman is commenting on where you want to send your kid if he was a quarterback. He says, even with what you said, miss me with that. Look at the programs that are known for developing talented kids into NFL talent at the position your kid plays and lean that way. So instead of sending them to not just to send them to an offense that's pro style where he can learn to read defenses, but look at the program Ryman is saying, the programs that are sending kids to the league at that particular position.
Well, I mean, that's fair too.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough because at some point, there's always exceptions to the rule. Like Anthony Richardson is an exception to the rule. They felt like his physical presence and athletic abilities could overcome a lot of his shortcomings. But for the most part, I would like to think if a coach or a program is sending a lot of quarterbacks to the league, it's because the NFL is evaluating those guys and saying they're NFL talents. Like even if Lenoris was to leave and go first round, that's an exception to the rule, not the rule. So I think you both all, have valid points, you know what I'm saying? Whereas you're saying, Shawty's just looking at it like who's going to develop my quarterback because the ultimate goal is to get to the NFL.
Right.
And Ryman, you're just looking at it like, okay, this team has sent 4 straight quarterbacks, first 3 rounds. That's probably the top of it. But it's just I think that's just saying it a different way, to be honest with you.
Yeah. That's why it's hard to. It's almost like what came first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing. Like I agree with what you're saying. It just in terms from a developmental standpoint,
right?
I would just rather do that if it was my child.
Right. Servidal says he thinks Brian Puglisi. Again, I think right now I don't think that's a far off because I think he does have the lead currently. I just think with another year.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? It's going to be, I'll tell you this. If I think Brian Puglisi can definitely, got the talent to hold him off, but he's going to have a fight on his hand. I'll tell you that.
And Ryan had to play catch up due to injury too.
Right. He did. Definitely did. I heard the IMG quarterback, you guys might reclass to 26. I think he's looking at reclassing to 27.
Yeah, I don't think he's a sophomore right now.
Right. He's 28, so he's looking to reclass in 27. Oh, he did say he corrected himself. He is looking to do that. I'm gonna tell you like this, Trojan. I hope he signs, but just like I said this the whole time with Jared Curtis, I said it with Ryan Puglisi, Dylan Raiola, any recruit. Until they sign on the dotted line and we can have them for at least a year, it's all up in the air. Now, Jaden Wade seems like he a dog through and through. Him and one of the guys on the team currently are like real close. I forget who it is. One of the guys, he's the IMG kid, and it wasn't DeMello, it was somebody else. But anyway, until he signed on that dotted line.
And we don't know how the kid from Clark Central is going to develop.
That's Hezekiah.
I mean, we don't know how he's going to develop in the next year.
He's got a lot of overall talent, running and passing. He's the rawest of the group.
Mm-hmm.
And just because I think that NIL gonna come calling, I think somebody gonna. I mean, it's hard to keep a hold of that type of talent when you got 2 guys in front of you. So I think he's going to hit the portal, not because he doesn't want to be at Georgia, but because if I'm him, I wouldn't blame him. You know what I'm saying? He's probably going to have opportunities lined up. So we'll see how that goes.
I'm hoping he beats somebody out, to be honest.
I wouldn't be mad at that because any of these 3 guys that beat the other 2, I'm going to be comfortable with whoever wins that next job. You know what I'm saying?
That's if it's the younger guy. You know what I'm saying?
Keith says Kirby's like Saban. He's going to run the ball and doesn't give a damn if you know it. That's right. That's right. And that's what Bama's going to have to get back to doing.
Commitment.
That summed up what Kirby did this year, including and leading up to the SEC championship. Is it's like he even said it earlier in the year after we beat Tennessee in overtime. He was like, I know people want to think we're gonna do all this scoring all the time. He said, but that ain't what we are. He's like, we're gonna have to go out there, do what we can. We got to run the ball, we got to stop the run, we got to dink and dunk sometimes, and it's just what it is. And you got to be comfortable with who you are, Shawty. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't try to be something you're not. And I think that to Keith's point, I think that's what Kirby is really good at, not trying to be something he's not. You know?
Exactly.
Like we don't have no, CJ Stroud back there. He, you know what I'm saying? Gunner ain't about to rip it 50 times and beat you. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Coach. I'm saying who we are. We exactly who our quarterback is. Our quarterback driving 84 Ford, man. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got no Lamborghini and that like that. You know what I'm saying? We driving 84 Ford, and we beat the team by 21 points in the championship game, throwing for 156 yards, but running the ball 41 times. I don't want to get into the minutia, but we just are who we are, bro. And to your point, don't make no sense to try to be nothing else.
Right. If we got to block a punt and have an interception and a punt return, like Kirby don't care how it look. And I think a lot of this is not just the board. This is I see this across college football. So many coaches want the big explosive play. Do you need explosives? Yes, but you have to be comfortable winning, taking the check down. And I honestly think that's why Alabama beat us the first time, because Ty Simpson was cool with checking the check down. 15 plays here, 16 plays here, 14 plays here, just methodical down. It's hard to stop offenses like that because at the end of the day, they guys get NIL too. You know what I'm saying? So one more storyline, Shawty. Give me one more storyline in the SEC that missed, and then we're about to jump into the CFP bracket.
Putting that pitching them fastballs at me.
We talked about Nussmeier, we talked about Lagway, we talked about Arch. It looked like we talked about a whole bunch of quarterbacks, and then Toya brought up that Bama O-line being Joe Moore Award preseason candidates.
I'm trying to think about a big something that I thought was very important, but it was highly not talked about. Because that's how I'm taking your question when you say storylines that were missed.
Go
ahead. That might give me a time to think about it. Go ahead.
So coming into the year, it wasn't just Arch that was hyped up. The Texas O-line was hyped up as being one of those things. You know what I'm saying? The Texas running game, because I even thought the Texas running game was going to be really good. And because they was returning, I want to say not Jaden Blue, but the other guy, I forget his name. And I thought the O-line was going to be good. And while we on offensive lines, it's a lot of offensive lines. It ain't just Bama that came in with some hot preseason hype. OU offensive line had some preseason hype. Then you had Arbuckle and Mateer, and their offense definitely, I get it. Mateer did get hurt. He did get hurt. But at some point, if he ain't healthy, why are we still playing him? You see what I'm saying? So I don't buy he's still not healthy.
And I'm gonna stay on that. I'm gonna stay on that path with you, Coach. That is kind of a storyline that was missed. We have to give Brett Venable, BV some credit and OU some credit because we had but Vegas had those guys coming in when 6 and 5.
6.5 was the number. 6.5.
This is now they're a playoff team, so that's a storyline that is very that has been missed. Both of those, Texas and Oklahoma, have come into this conference. People were thinking they were not going to be ready, but each one of those teams have made the playoff in each of those years. So we have to give credit to those two teams. Those two great programs that we brought into the conference, and I don't know if Oklahoma is getting enough credit this year for what they have done.
Right. Shout out to BV for holding it down with one side of the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why this, and it's gonna segue right into the CFP, into interesting matchups, who made it, who didn't make it. But one of the first things I want to talk about is Alabama, Oklahoma, part 3 in the first 2 years. You know what I'm saying? Like we already seen Georgia, Texas part 3 in the first 2 years. Texas can't get over that hump beating Georgia. Bama's trying to go to Norman and get this win over a team, like you say, shout out to BV. They kind of mirror images of each other. Oklahoma came in outside of their expectations. I mean, it is Bama. We always expect them to contend. So the expectations was totally different. But OU, Vegas said they 6.5 wins. OU won 10 games.
I felt like that too.
I felt like, and then like I know people say, well, their offense was humming at the beginning of the year. I don't know if that's necessarily the case. I think they always had an offensive problem. I think they was just doing it against lesser teams. Like, yeah, they put up some points against Michigan, but that was a young Michigan team, 3rd game of the season at home. And outside of that, Temple and some other things, like your offense really ain't look good. Brent Venables did 10 wins. Let me tell you, with just the front 7. Like that's coaching, right?
So, he's still on the hook for me. Like he's shown that he's one of the best defensive coordinators in the nation. That's not a problem. But his head coaching thing is still up for grabs for me.
Right. Gotcha. Got to work early. Say y'all be good. Congrats on 2-time champ. We appreciate you, B jamming, man. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, get you some sleep, man. We want you to be late for work, man. Keith Holcomb say I saw the interaction between Kirby and Ty after the game. Got much respect for him because of that. Yeah, Kirby always try to throw some words of wisdom to the players, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, he saw what Ty did to us in Athens. You know what I'm saying? So. Arbuckle is another West Coast OC. Mm-hmm. That is correct. Call it like you see it, Toya. Mm-hmm. And I'm gonna be honest, I think he's good. But while we're talking about people coming in with preseason hype that I didn't think was always all the way deserved, is Arbuckle. I felt like he good. I don't feel like he was on the level that they was making him. I felt like he was a good OC with a dynamic playmaker at quarterback type history.
And that's the problem.
Yeah, war, right.
I mean, because I'll say his offense is based off making the quarterback being a centerpiece in terms of running and passing. And that's a problem in the SEC. You have got to hand the ball off to those running backs. You can't have a game. Every game you have, quarterback got 17 carries and your lead running back got 6 carries. That's not a winning formula. And that's Arbuckle's problem. He came into the SEC trying to learn on the job, trying to make John Mateer a Heisman Trophy candidate, bro, and that ain't the path.
Right. And I think he's one of these OCs that speaks to famine as well. Like, you got to be able to beat, like you say, that goes back to the running the ball, even when you can't run the ball, being committed to the run. You got to be okay with walking the ball down the field. And I think, John Mateer mimics or mirrors his philosophy. They're always looking for that big play. Now, granted, they've hit it the last couple of weeks with Satania. Satania is a hell of a player, by the way. But think about this. Bama turned the ball over against them the last time they played. Satania hits a big play. LSU, Satania hit 2 big plays. Outside of that, it's like the offense does nothing. The defense keeps them in the game. You see what I'm saying?
I'm talking about in the comments.
Right. So, all right. And that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say that you got to be these OCs. And Toya pointed out, these West Coast OCs ain't used to being committed to the run when the run ain't working. And in the South, when you playing trench mob football, even if you ain't gaining but a yard here, there, you got to be committed to toting that tater, you know what I'm saying? And I thought listen, in Athens, I thought last year in 2024, Bobo got like that sometime where we just letting Carson throw it all over the yard. Like, hey, run the ball, man. And they addressed it though, and they came back and fixed the issue.
And I want to say this to R. Lemon. I say this tongue in cheek, but if you know me, you know how I am. No disrespect. But I don't want to hear that shit. Because y'all claim y'all got the best offensive line coach in the nation. So build some depth, whether it be freshman, sophomore, junior, porter, transfer, I don't know. Figure it out. I don't want to hear that shit.
This is what I will say. We
dealing with the same thing, coach.
Right. And this is what we said this early on the show. When you want to be a certain type of program, injuries no longer become, and you can't use that as an excuse. Like this is true what you're saying. They are battling injuries. They are. But every team has at least 15 to 20 offensive linemen. Everybody ain't hurt. So you got to find 5 guys, whether they battling through it or they not, that can play at competitive football. You see what I'm saying? Like, again, y'all guys he's put a lot of guys in the league at O-line, beating both. So he should be able to find 5 guys. Mm-hmm. Now, again, going down to the wire with some teams affects a lot of that fatigue and things like that. Again, it's facts. But when you want to be in certain company or certain type programs, unless your trigger man go down, nope. The public doesn't want to hear it. You know what I'm saying?
And I kind of mentioned it earlier too, Coach. I don't know if R. Lemon was in the on the podcast earlier, but I mentioned what we do. We have a lot of guys who are cross-trained. We've been playing guards at tackles at guard. We even got a guard had played center. So what I'm saying is like we got injuries too, but that's why we are cross training. We build that depth across the line. So I don't know what the offensive line who's supposed to be the best offensive line coach doing at OU, but he need to figure it out because we have to. You got to.
To be one of those teams, you got to compete for it. Trojan Fight said, let's see if Alabama gives up a turnover for a score for the third game in a row versus OU. Neither team can run the ball. That is correct. And this is what we're looking at right now. We're looking at that matchup right here. Alabama, OU. Let me make that a little bit bigger. Alabama, OU. How you see this playing out, Shawty?
Ooh, so I would say this right here, Coach. It's very hard to beat a team twice, right, in the same year. I think everybody kind of knows that.
Right.
Because when you play a team, it's just so many things you got film on, then you're able to kind of learn teams' cadences. That's a big difference. Being able to learn a quarterback cadence on offense. So it's going to be very tough, but I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to tell you what I think going to be the biggest difference in this game, and we're kind of talking about it right now with R. Lemon. If Alabama has a chance to get healthy, that could really cause OU some problems.
So this game is December 19th. That is 11 days from now. That's a week, pretty much a week and a half to try to, start it yesterday, getting healthy. OU has some injuries, but definitely I feel like Bama's a little bit more decimated when it comes to injuries. One injury that again, you're not going to stop OU from sacking you. That's not happening. And that goes for any team. I think OU's going to be able to get a sack on any team, 2 or 3, here or there. But when they don't get a sack, you need to have a running back, and this was definitely evident Saturday. You need to have a running back that knows pass protection. You know what I'm saying? Like Jam Miller might not be the best pass protecting running back in the nation, but he know who to block. You know what I'm saying? Like they young guys and Daniel Hill, like them dudes was lost when they came to pass pro. Like
don't have the same body. They're not the same body types either.
Right, and even to that play where Ty, it was a miscommunication with the young guy. I forget the young running back name, but it was miscommunication with him. He goes the wrong way for the block.
Number
Ty
4.
No, that's Daniel Hill. I think it was the other guy. And Ty rolls out and then just slides. You know what I'm saying? That was a miscommunication with pass pro from the running back. You know what I'm saying? So Ty like, look, I ain't about to take no unnecessary licks. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna go down now. The question I want to ask you before we move into the next game, Shawty. Outside of the SEC, there's a lot of people that say Alabama shouldn't have got in. After the way they lost. What do you think? Should this spot have gone to Notre Dame?
No.
I don't think so either.
As much as I hate Alabama, them being a rival, I think they are deserving of that playoff bid. Now, if you didn't want to keep them at 9, you could have moved them 10. I don't care where you put them, but they are deserving because again, that was a 13th data point, meaning an extra game, which Notre Dame would never play because they're not in the conference. And also to Bama's credit, they lost to a team, granted by 21 points, but to a team they beat early in the year at their home. I just don't think that would be enough to take a team out, even with the eye test and with all the injuries and just knowing football. I still think Bama is one of the best 12 teams in the country.
Right, Latoya, appreciate that. That's AK Deer. That's Bama's young running back. I feel like running the ball, that dude gonna be special, man. Now he gonna have to get up in there and get them carries before Kroll get up in there because that dude supposed to be like that. So, but yeah, AK Deer definitely looks good when he's running the ball, but he's got to learn to pass pro if he's going to be all around back. But yeah, I'm with you. I think Alabama was in before the game. I don't think, and I know people like, well, how they lost. It's like, I don't really care how they lost. Yeah. They was in before the championship game. The people that they're so-called in contention with for that spot didn't play the extra game to have a chance to lose.
And they didn't have the option to do what Notre Dame did in the bowl game, which is opt out. They had to play.
Right, they had to play. Whereas the team, right, hey, it is a shot. But the teams that they were so called on the same line with, trying to fight for that spot, was sitting at home while Bama was out playing in an extra game against a team they had already beaten at their house, broke out 33-game home win streak, and they also was at risk for more injury during the game where the other teams were sitting at home. So again, I don't care how they lost. I think they should have been in. Now, that brings me to another point. I think BYU should have been higher in the beginning before all of this went down because they was a one-loss team. It was behind a whole bunch of two-loss teams. And if they were higher, I feel like it would have been the same thing for them. They lost to the same team again. They got blew out, whatever, while everybody else was sitting at home, but they wouldn't have fell out of the run-ins for that. I don't know whose spot they should have took, but I feel like as a Power 4 conference team, when you only got one loss, again, all losses aren't equal, all schedules aren't equal. I get that.
They should have took one of them non-Power 5 conference slots. Exactly. They should have got like the 11 slot or something like that. Because I think that's ultimately the problem, not to shift gears. I just don't think they should have they shouldn't have a slot. They just don't need to be in what we're doing.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I don't think guaranteeing the G5s. I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan unless you in that top 15 and you can be up in the conversation for possibly getting in. I'm not.
No, if you ain't in the top 12.
No. I'm just saying when it come down to 13 and 14, always got a little, hey, look at my resume type deal. Like if you ain't even that close, then I ain't with it. Hold on one moment.
Yeah, I just think that's something that we need to get rid of is being able to allow the G5 schools in. I think that really kind of messed up the seeding this year, giving them the 12th and the 11th spot. I think more teams, I don't want to use the word more deserving, but I just think they were the better teams. And I think this is the point of the committee is to get the best teams in. But you can't do that by theory when you're letting in G5 schools. And I think that's ultimately
guaranteeing them like top 5 conference wins. Like I'm just not with that. So next game on the slate. So that's Alabama, Oklahoma. Whoever wins that game has the pleasure of taking on Indiana. And either way, because these teams are similar, good on defense, can't run the ball on offense. If I had to pick a passing game, I'd take Alabama's passing game over Oklahoma. But Alabama.
No offense, period.
Yeah, Alabama can't seem to stop turning the ball over versus Oklahoma. So if they don't turn the ball over, I think Alabama gets the win here. But it is in Norman, and that's going to be a hard task with all the pressure that Brent Venables is going to put on that offense. But they got to go play Indiana, where Indiana has a good defense, seemingly, and an offense that can score. So, but their offense hasn't played a defense to me especially like an Oklahoma who can pressure you. You know what I'm saying? Or Alabama who's good in all 3 phases. I think Ohio State's defense is good. I think Alabama's right there with them. So that's going to be interesting to see that matchup. Now, we got down here, we got Tulane, Ole Miss. We've seen this story before, Shawty. We've seen this story before.
Again, this is the problem with the spice in the seasoning in the ingredients. Like this is the problem. Like Ole Miss beat them by 5 touchdowns in the regular season. Why would we want to see this again? Like it makes no sense, Coach.
Right.
This is the problem in those G5 schools. Like I would rather have seen Ole Miss have to play
BYU,
Notre Dame, or BYU,
or Notre Dame, right? So to that point, Ole Miss probably would have played Notre Dame, and Oregon would have played BYU. Now, in my opinion, I think Ole Miss and Notre Dame definitely would have been a good game, but I would lean Ole Miss because I feel like Ole Miss can score on anybody. That's just my opinion. Notre Dame does have a good defense. Right. They play some good defense. Oregon, I feel like would come out on top, but Oregon BYU, way better matchup than Oregon James Madison. You know what I'm saying? So
they're going to beat the dog, without a James Madison.
Right. And Tulane went to Ole Miss this year, which they got to do again. And I think Ole Miss won like 45-10 or 35 to
They beat
10.
my like 5 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's like, man, what we doing, man? Trojan Fight as a USC fan say can't blame a USC fan for taking enjoyment of the Indeed left lesson. I know you was enjoying that. When you see Alabama in, you had, and then Miami go up there. I know you was celebrating. You was like, hey, if we can't get in, y'all don't get in either. Hope this forces them into a conference. Trojan Fight, from what I saw, that they agreed in, and whatever the MOU stands for, as long started in 2026, as long as Notre Dame is ranked in the final 12, regardless of the conference championship, champion guarantees and all that, as long as they're ranked in the final 12 going forward in 2026, they're guaranteed a spot in the CFP. So this year, what happened to them won't happen in 2026. And I can tell you, for those that haven't looked at Notre Dame's schedule, it's even worse next year.
Yeah, they ain't going to join the conference.
They play USC. They play one other team. Think Miami or Texas A&M, one of the two. And that's it, though. Like it's smooth sailing. So unfortunately, you will see Notre Dame in the playoffs next year.
Like, why would I join the conference and I make the playoffs and I had to split the money with the conference? I get all that money myself. Like, Why would I join the conference?
Another team that got left out, Texas. Bramble Lemon said, I don't care if they think they're deserving. Texas is never deserving. You hate to admit their fans are just downright. Yeah.
but and again, I think Texas ended up being ranked 13, right? Something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And we talked about the coach and talking about, again, I think the system is broken. And I think you mentioned it as well, and I was on this boat too. I think, and you can stop me if I'm getting too far off the rails, but I really think we can keep everything the way that it is. Everything the same way that it is, but 11 through 14 play on Friday before all the championship games as play-in games. So you have 2 games on Friday and all the championship games on Saturday. But that 11 through 14 would be a play-in. So then there won't be no argument.
Right. I don't think increasing to 16 is going to fix anything, because then 17, 18, 19 going to say they're better than 15 and 16. Mm-hmm. I think I said exactly what you just said is what I put on Twitter on Saturday. I put it on Twitter on Friday. I said 1 through 10 gets in, and 11 and 12 spots is 11 playing 14 and 12 playing 13 for a play-in game.
And they can play on Friday, nothing extra, nothing. They just play on Friday before the other games.
Right, and that's just what it is. Toya says the CFP is at fault. They should have never had Notre Dame in front of Miami. Notre Dame went to bed a playoff team and then woke up and was not right. Their whole thing was because Notre Dame and Miami was separated by BYU, and once BYU lost, that put Notre Dame and Miami beside each other. You already knew what was going on. Like, you could have had Miami at their spot, then BYU and Notre Dame at their spot. Like, what we doing here? You had 1-2 lost team behind BYU and 1 in front. Why did it matter? It was Notre Dame. So I'm with you, Toya. Like, if they did that in the first place, then Notre Dame would have knew they was on the bubble. But they went to bed with no games being played between Notre Dame and Miami, and then flip spots. So why don't they have their own playoff? I've been asking that the same. Keith Hope, I've been asking why G5s ain't got their own playoffs. I don't know.
But Coach, it's like, I would say this. I'm gonna say this first. All the teams who are complaining are these 2-loss teams, meaning they on the bubble anyway. So if you win, you don't have to worry about that. So first of all, you complaining because you didn't win, which don't make any sense. So if you are already on the bubble, every 2-loss team is gonna be on the bubble. It's just that simple for the most part. So if you're on the bubble against a team like Miami, and everything is similar, and in my opinion, do I think Notre Dame the better team right now? Yes. But I can feel the way I want to feel. Miami beat you head to head. On the field. You got to go with that. No matter how we feel.
Right. On the field, they beat you, man, which leads us into the last game of the first round, Miami, Texas A&M. Now, Shawty, we seen this story before too, right? Okay.
And I'm gonna say shout out to Texas for getting over the hump. Texas A&M for getting over the hump. You know, they perennially been an 8.
8-4 team. Right.
Yeah, so shout out to their head coach for finally, you know, getting that monkey off their back and getting them over the hump. I think this is a game where Miami wins. And I'm an AC homer, but I think Miami wins this game. I've never been really sold on Texas Tech. I think they had a very weak schedule in terms of the SEC because every team that they played in the SEC was in the bottom 8.
Yep, except for Texas.
Right. So I never truly believed in them. I don't think they've been truly tested. And I just have seen Miami play. I think they got too much on offense and are great on defense. I think Miami beats Texas A&M.
Right. So home. I think now this is if I'm not mistaken, the second time they played. You know, they gave Texas A&M the loss earlier in the year. Is that am I right?
Early.
No. That's I'm wrong. They didn't play. They didn't play. They played a couple. They played 2 years ago. Right. So they got to go to College Station. I feel like defense travels. I think defense is going to be, and I know everybody say Texas A&M got a defense, but again, to Shawty's point, they were doing it against the bottom 8 of the SEC, not outside of Texas. And when they ran into a top 8 team in the SEC, Texas beat them. So I feel like, and now the one caveat here is we all know, you know, if you've been rocking with the show, you know how I feel about Carson Beck. You know, I can't speak to his mental and his leadership capabilities, but as far as spinning the ball, the dude has a pro arm. Problem is when he's elite, he's elite. But when he bad in bunches.
He doesn't know how to break out of a funk. He stays in it.
Nah, he cannot. He ain't got no short-term memory and none of that stuff, dog. When he throw an interception, just know a drive or two later he gonna throw another interception. So if he play clean, this is a win easy for Miami in my estimation.
I agree.
But if he throws a pick early, it's gonna be a game, and that 12th man gonna be on Carson. So Carson Beck is the key to that game in my opinion. So let's get to some of these comments. Toya said G5 needs their own playoffs and really are fighting for 10 spots because the G5 is guaranteed to, at least in this year.
They're not guaranteed.
They're guaranteed one. Right. But this year, because of the ACC and all their blundering,
ineptitude,
right? Good, better word. They let a 7-5 Duke team, because 3 of Duke's losses was outside the conference. They let a 7-5 Duke team in their conference championship, and then had the unmitigated gall to win it.
And Virginia just fumbled, man. How Virginia just fumbled the damn ball like that? Come on,
bro. That's right. So yes, you are right. Listen, man, the G5 to me though, because there's a lot of G5 teams that don't have a chance after losing one game. So I think they actually do need their own playoffs. Ryman says Bama gonna get stuck in max protect to try to keep top and get rolled. That may be the case. As a coach, though, you got to be willing to max protect in some situations if that's what it takes to get your playoff, even if it's a play for 5 yards here, 5 yards there. Guess what? 5 + 5 is 10. That's the first down. And so this is nothing new. That's the thing, though. Like, it's not that not that they gonna be able to stop Oklahoma or not stop them, or either stop them or not stop them, but they know it's coming.
And the thing about that game too is, I hate to say it, y'all won that game with your defense, meaning your defense scored. You just can't depend on your defense to score every game.
Right. Keith say if Bama gets past OU, which he's not too much worried about Indiana. Interesting. I
think they're 2 very similar teams, to be honest.
Right. Keith says Ole Miss basically gets a bye. Yeah. Right. I mean, I get it. They're the G5, top-rated G5 team, but they already walked dog. We seen it. Even if it was a closer game without Lane Kiffin, I mean, you go from again. I think the score was 45-10 the first time around, or something like that.
I know they beat them by 5 touchdowns. Whatever it was.
so no Lane Kiffin playing a team second game. Maybe that ends up being 31-13 this time instead, or 31-17. But either way, yeah, I'm with you, Keith. I'm with you.
And that's truly the game. I'm be honest. That's truly a game where you go into that particular game. It's like, bro, I just need to get out healthy.
Right. So Trojan Fight, when we talked about Notre Dame's schedule for 2026, said they might not play a ranked team in 2026 if it's not Miami. USC on the schedule is still questionable if that's gonna continue. So y'all might not be on the schedule. That's interesting. So if y'all are on the schedule, look like they only got the possibility of playing possibly 2 ranked teams. Maybe Pitt, if Pitt pull the wool over some people's eyes until they get beat down towards the end of the season. We shall see. Everyone that complained about Bama, if we didn't play in the SEC championship, wouldn't be in it. Facts. Hey, you got to be in it. Texas is complaining as a 3 loss, and one of those was a 3-win Florida. Handle your business, get reward. Ryman, I've been saying that because they say, like, even Sark to their head coach, and we talked about this earlier in the program when one B Jammin mentioned that how Clark Lee is handling the whole situation. He's not complaining. He said we want to play more football. Your team takes on your personality. So Sark out here complaining about, well, if we had to play at Ohio State, we played a cupcake, we'd be in. No, if you played Ohio State, you lost to Ohio State. You played Georgia, you lost to Georgia, but you beat a 3-win Florida team, you still be in the playoffs. So it's not that you played Ohio State, it's you lost to a 3-win Florida team.
And the operative word is what I said earlier, because all the teams are complaining are the teams who lost. If you win, you don't have to worry about this stuff.
Right.
I don't care who. If you win, you don't have to worry about it.
Right. Trojan Fight said, what kind of tiebreaker kept Texas A&M out of the championship game? So once Texas A&M lost to Texas, that created a 4-way tie between Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Georgia, and Bama, because everybody had 1 loss in conference. And Bama and Georgia's strength of record or common opponents, that kind of thing, was better than Ole Miss's and Texas A&M. That's how I there was some intricacies in there where it was like, well, Bama.
That's going to do with ranking too, right? The higher ranked team or something like that.
Something like that.
Metrics, yeah.
Right. And then when it like Texas A&M got eliminated first, because of course, again, they didn't play anybody outside of Texas in the SEC that was ranked in the top 8 of the SEC, right, whereas Ole Miss, Bama, and Georgia did. Now, so they are eliminated, and then Ole Miss gets eliminated because Georgia, they don't play Bama, and Georgia beat Ole Miss head-to-head. So that left Bama and Georgia. That's kind of how, overall, that's kind of how that happened. So Lincoln Riley runs away from all hard games, Ryan Limit says, going back to what Trojan Fight is talking about possibly. Just imagine that, man. For college football fans is my age and people that have been following football, just imagine USC and Notre Dame might not be playing on an annual basis. What's going on? What's going on in college football, Shawty? What's going on, man? This is crazy.
This money and stuff, right? Like it's crazy that we've gotten to this point. It's almost like it's becoming like a how they make spoofs of movies. You know what I'm talking, like a spoof? You know what a movie spoof is?
Yeah.
So it's almost like you would never think you would see this stuff come. Like it would be funny. You would joke about it.
Right.
It's happening because of the NIL and all this money. Like you literally got, like we talked about it earlier, like you got teams already bowing out of bowl games. Like, come on,
bro. That's bananas.
Just because you don't make the playoffs.
That's what Keith said, all about the money, man. So Trojan Fight say USC not running. We when we potentially have 3 top 10 teams already on the schedule, OU is welcome to play them every year in October among your SEC schedule. I'm sure OU AD would welcome that. So next year, and this goes to Keith's question, next year the SEC goes to 9 conference games, and the SEC is still required to play a P4 out of conference game. Now, I can't say that all Big Ten teams outside of their 9 conference games still play another P4 conference game outside of that. So that's going to be interesting to see. How do I feel about it? As a fan, it's going to create a lot of good matchups. Now, I get what the coaches are saying, because I think when it comes to the talent, top to bottom, the SEC does have more talent. I think, like, again, we talked about this in the beginning of the show, whether you're looking at recruiting rankings or draft picks, whether they're coming into college or leaving college, there's more talent. Now, there isn't 16 great teams in the SEC. I'm not going to sit here and say that, but those bad teams still have first day draft picks, whereas in other conferences like North Carolina, I don't know if they got no first day draft pick on their team, you know what I'm saying? But when you play South Carolina, you playing against a Dylan Stewart who this was his second year. In his third year, he's going to be a top 10 pick. That's like weekly basis. Caleb Downs said it. He did say that in the bowl game his first year that he saw that the Big Ten beat the SEC, but he said in the SEC, every week you play dudes. Mm-hmm. He didn't say teams. He said dudes. So I think when it comes to the nine conference games for the SEC, we beat up now. I think it's just going to show it's going to be even more so going forward again, because Georgia doesn't get to drop Georgia Tech. Clemson, South Carolina doesn't get to drop Clemson. Kentucky doesn't get to drop Louisville, and Florida doesn't get to drop Florida State, and whoever the other teams play. Bama's not dropping Wisconsin. Bama's not dropping, I think Bama plays Ohio State in 2 or 3 years. Georgia opens with Louisville next year, finishes with Georgia Tech, and mashes 9 SEC games in the middle of that. So on top of possibly another SEC championship. So we could possibly play 12 P4 teams out of 13 games next year.
And what I would say to the 9-conference game, just looking at it from a conference, overall conference standpoint, is a much bigger chance that, with our conference being as tough as it is, we're going to cannibalize each other. But ultimately, when you're talking about the playoffs, that's what's going to push for the 16 teams, because now we're going to be getting 6 teams in.
Right.
As opposed to 5, maybe even 7.
Right. You're right, Trojan Bite. He didn't sound like he was a fan of the nine games because Kirby really likes playing out of conference teams, in those, especially in those early games, like, the Clemsons, the Oregon. It
makes you better all over round as opposed to playing the same people, same time. It makes you better overall as a coach and a team to play different speeds and different styles. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think Ohio State and Georgia are trying to get there because they initially had a home and home, and then they agreed to cancel it once the Big Ten and the SEC started adding teams. I think they're working to get their thing back on. We play Florida State. I think after we play Louisville home and home, and then we play Florida State home and home, and then I think it's Arizona State again or something like that. It's just crazy. And I think a lot of coaches are going to go away from the outside of the conference P4 matchups because, like, everybody talk about the SEC going to 9 games. The ACC still playing 8 games, by the way. So I don't know if people knew that, but ACC still playing 8 games. And eventually they're going to have to go to 9 games. And
they don't realize what they're doing. Y'all ain't finna do nothing but make the playoff more SEC bound. They're going to go to 16 teams with a 9-game schedule.
Right. So Ryman got a good question that people have been asking. Do you feel like Ole Miss should have gotten the Florida State treatment since they lost their head coach / offensive play caller? All right. So this is what I'll say to that. I'll say the difference. Now, whether or not they should have got the treatment, I don't know. But this is what I'll say the difference. I thought, Florida State should have got in. I mean, whatever. But the reason why Florida State didn't get in, they lost their quarterback 2 to 3 weeks before the ACC championship, and we got a chance to witness how bad they look without him. They did win the ACC, but they look significantly worse without him. Currently, we can assume that Ole Miss is not going to be the same without Lane Kiffin, even though Charlie Weiss was so-called the OC, and he is back with the team for the playoff run. We don't know. We can't quantify it currently. They can go out here and lay an egg. Tulane upset them. I don't know. But right now, we have to assume until we see it and can actually prove it that Ole Miss is still more so of the team that we saw beforehand. I think that was the biggest difference on why they didn't get the Florida State treatment. What about you, Shawty?
No, I agree with you 100%. I really don't have much to add to that. Just to maybe just bring a little bit more focus on it. At the end of the day, you have an Ole Miss team that's still 100% intact.
Right.
Granted, the coach is not there, but the OC is allowed to coach, and the players are there. We always know it comes down to the Jimmys and Joes. Florida State lost one of their biggest Jimmys. or Joe or whatever you want to call him.
The biggest.
Right. Ole Miss didn't do that. They lost a head coach, but the OC is there, and I think they're still more intact than where Florida State was. So I just don't think it's comparing apples to apples.
Right. I think that's kind of, we feel both the same way. Keith says Bama plays FSU again next year. That is right. They got to come to Tuscaloosa next year. Says strength of schedule better than sure matter going forward. Tough letting it is, but I think we are headed to. I don't think they've agreed to it already, but just with Notre Dame getting left out, Vandy, and when I say left out, Vandy getting left out, Texas not making it, and you got two, not one, but two G5 teams in it. 16 is right around the corner if it ain't next year.
I think the contract ends next year, right? It was a 2-year contract for the 12-year playoff, or 2 or 3-year contract. It ends either this year or next year.
Right. So you said it limits your flexibility with room for just 2 cupcake teams if you schedule one good team. Right. I mean, look at all the Big Ten teams. They schedule 9 conference games. They schedule maybe 1 decent game and then the other 2 cupcakes. Everybody got cupcakes on the schedule.
But,
and
it's not they have 3 or 4 or 5 of their teams in conference are cupcakes.
Right. When you comparing the apples to apples, I thought I heard, and that's what I'm saying. I didn't, and you might be right, Trojan Fight. But I've been making that case like all the focus has been on the SEC. But I'm like, hey, the ACC still over here playing 8 games, by the way. You know what I'm saying? So I just, as a fan, don't want the cross conference play to go away. But I think Trojan Fight, you said it earlier, like Kirby didn't sound like he was a fan of the 9 games. I don't think a lot of coaches in the SEC are. They're gonna do it and make it work, but I don't think they're a fan of it. So as a fan of the game, I still want to see those, Oklahoma, Michigan games at the beginning of the season. Next year, Michigan and Texas play, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And so actually we're gonna get a preview of that in the bowl game, in the Citrus Bowls.
Like Texas and Ohio State.
Right, Texas, Ohio State, Oregon and Georgia when they played, you know what I'm saying? USC played Auburn. Was it Auburn? That might have been Penn State, but they played somebody, and then somebody from the Big 12. Oklahoma when they was in the Big 12 went to Tennessee early in the year. I like those kind of games, especially early in the year, man. Like that's you go 3, 4, 5, 7 months no football, and then all of a sudden you get Ohio State versus LSU. You know what I'm saying, or something first week. Sign me up for that, dog.
It's literally like a bowl game in the beginning of the year. That's kind of my point. Like, it would have been great to see a Notre Dame play a Vanderbilt.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
As we go through
Texas play because Texas was 13.
Right.
Texas play BYU.
That would have been dope. Yeah.
But those would have been the playoff game.
Those were the play-in games that we were talking about. Yeah, those would have been the play-in games. As we go through these comments some more, Shawty, give me your final 4. Not who's gonna win it, but give me your final 4. So at the top of the bracket, you got James Madison, Oregon. Texas Tech is waiting on the winner. Alabama, Oklahoma, Indiana's waiting on the winner. And then, of course, the winners of those 2 games will play and be in the final 4. So who's your final 4 from this top bracket of James Madison, Oregon, Texas Tech, Alabama, Oklahoma, and Indiana? Give me 2 of those. 2 of those are going to be in the final 4.
Wow.
I know it. It's going to get dicey down there.
Since I'm on the spot, I mean, at this point, I'm gonna have to go just with almost the higher ranked team. I think Texas Tech would be in that final 4. You mean talking about the final 4 for the total playoffs, right?
Yeah. So
okay.
the final 4. So 2 of these teams that's on the screen right now are gonna make it to the final 4. 2 of them. So one team out of Alabama, Oklahoma, and Indiana gonna make it. And one team out of James Madison, Oregon, and Texas Tech gonna make it.
God, I like Oregon up top in the top bracket.
Okay. I'm with you on that, by the way.
I like Oregon.
I like Oregon.
More, man. Offensively, I just think they got so much firepower, man, that they'll be able to outshoot anybody. I don't care how good the defense is. Right. And then that bottom bracket with the bottom three, Alabama, OU, and Indiana.
Mm,
God, all those teams so similar, man.
That's
Like they all got like strong points on one side and very weak on the other side. So I'm gonna go with the most balanced team. I'm gonna say Indiana.
mm. I got you. I think if, and it's a big if, because again, Alabama hasn't shown they can do it. If Alabama can get past Oklahoma, I feel like they would give Indiana a better game. Only because.
But do they win?
But do they win? Right. I would say that's a tough one right there, though. The reason why, because I think, like you say, the more balanced team is Indiana. But I think at some point, and I'm not saying it's going to be the Indiana or the Texas Tech, experience in these type of games will come into play. Whether it be, a misread or, letting the crowd get to you, the lights, the pressure, whatever it is, I think it can come into it. Like, reason why I think Oklahoma is not a good matchup. Indiana's a bad matchup for Oklahoma. Oklahoma's front seven, I've been saying it all year, is the best in the nation. I think their front seven. But when they don't get home, they leave their guys on islands a lot. And Indiana's receivers will eat that space.
Big too.
God, they'll eat that space up. But Alabama's defense is more balanced throughout all three levels. You know what I'm saying? The Tim Keenans, the LT Overtons, you got the linebackers, and then you got good secondary play. They may not get home pressure-wise like Oklahoma, but they're solid through defense. Now, can they move the ball to Indiana? I think ultimately, right now, because Indiana's playing more balance, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to say Indiana.
Can I throw a caveat in there, Coach?
Okay.
Because I'm with you, but it's going to be my caveat. If Alabama beats Oklahoma and they play Indiana, if it's on turf, I'm going with Alabama. It's
at the Rose Bowl, so it's outside.
Okay, I'm going with Indiana. If they don't, I'm going with Alabama.
Right. So I'm going to tell you this. Like I said, I think Alabama's a better matchup for Indiana if we're talking like that. So now down at the bottom bracket, I'm going to go first. Obviously, Ole Miss is coming out of that one to play Georgia again. I got Miami beating Texas A&M to play Ohio State. I got Georgia beating Ole Miss again. In the Ohio State Miami game, and this is where it gets dicey. It's that Carson Beck factor. Because we don't know. Again, he's been in these situations before. Julian Sayin not necessarily has. Julian Sayin last night 2 nights ago in the Big Ten Championship didn't look comfortable at all. He didn't seem like he could find the windows in the zone. And I think Miami has a better front than Ohio State. While Ohio State has an elite defense, I feel like that Rumi Bain and company, they gonna be in it. Woo. I mean, Indiana, I was saying they was playing Indiana. That Rumi Bain and company, woo. And then, yeah, man. Now Jeremiah Smith for Ohio State is pretty much unguardable. But Malachi Tony, he can make you miss in the phone booth. Ryan Day been there before. This comes down to, I feel like Ryan Day will coach better than Cristobal. So I'm going to go Ohio State wins this game to play Georgia. So my final four will be Ohio State playing Georgia and Oregon playing Indiana in a rematch of their game from the Big Ten.
Coach, we really on the same page. But since we are, I'm just going to go a little bit opposite. But it's going to be based off of your theory. I think Miami beats Texas Tech. I mean, Texas A&M no matter what. I just think they're better. I just think they beat them.
Gotcha.
But based off of your theory, if Carson Beck is on, I think they beat Ohio State because I like Miami defense up against Ohio State.
I'm with you.
So
if Carson rocking, He rocking.
So my bottom two is gonna be Georgia and Miami.
In the Beck Bowl. Okay, I got you. In the Beck Bowl. Ryman says his Final Four is Oklahoma taking on Texas Tech. That's Oklahoma beating Alabama in the first round and taking care of business in the Rose Bowl against Indiana. And then he also got Georgia, Ohio State down at the bottom. Keith says if Bama would get there together, we can beat anybody.
I think anybody in the playoffs can say that, other than
the G5
12 and 11 seed. but no knock on what you said. I'm just saying, you know what I mean?
Right. That freshman Tony, that's what I'm saying. That dude is a matchup problem. Like, and we get to see it on a regular weekly basis with Branch. Tony got that same, if not better. No, I ain't gonna say better, but he definitely, I would say he's more of a natural receiver. But Branch, might have, I don't know who got the best twitchiness and that doggone Branch changed directions like
nobody. His acceleration is just crazy. 0 to 100 is crazy.
Right. So interesting matchup, man. We appreciate y'all rocking with us today, man. Got on here, man, talked about the SEC season in review, man. Storylines that didn't pan out. Got a little CFP talk in there, man. Just think, man, we probably gonna get back on here maybe a little later in the week and talk all these coaching moves. There's a lot of new coaches out there, Shawty. Mm-hmm. A lot of new coaches. And to your point, you always say, did some of these teams get the right guy? Because if they got the right guy with NIL and unlimited transfers until that go away, anybody got a shot out here. You know what I'm
saying? I think some of them did. I think some people were under pressure and they just made some stop gaps. You know what I'm saying? But I do think there were a few teams that did get the right guy, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it when we get into it later in the week.
That's right, man. Appreciate you, Keith, man. Appreciate you, Ryman. Appreciate you, Trojan Fight. Latoya, B Jammin. It was a Surfer Dog. Somebody else was up in here. It was a dog fan earlier. Latoya. Come on, where my other dog fan at, man? You was in here early and you had the bell on.
And while Coach looking, I'm gonna say shout out to the people in the comments, man, because everybody in the comments tonight was very, I want to say y'all sound very informative. Y'all asked good questions. Y'all make good statements. They let me know y'all knew what y'all was talking about, and y'all just went out here just trolling and talking. So shout out to everybody in the comments, man.
Man, shout out to everybody in the comments, man. I lost him, man. Shout out to the dog fan that was in there early, man. I lost your name. I know Surfer Dog, like I said, it was one more. I'm gonna find you. I'm not gonna be defeated up in this.
Yeah, wait, poetic nomad.
Right, poetic nomad, Shawty. That's him. Shout out to Poetic Nomad for getting in early, man. Dog fan. Appreciate everybody getting in on Facebook, on YouTube. Shawty, tell them where they can find you at, man, before we get up out of here.
Yeah, man, you can find me obviously on Respect the Hedges tomorrow night with me, Coach I, and the rest of the crew. Shout out to E-Rod, he's in the comment too. Yeah, we'll be talking strictly about mainly, Coach I'll probably let you know, but I think we're going to be talking about mainly the Georgia, the SEC championship and moving forward. And then definitely you'll find me this week on my own show, Just My Damn Opinion, AP and Cal, because we got a lot to talk about at 9:00 on Wednesday.
There it is, man. Keith said, great show. Be back. Congratulations on our win. I hope so, Keith. Hope so, man. Appreciate it again, everybody getting out. Listen, tomorrow night, 8:00 p.m., Respect the Hedges. The whole crew will be in here, man. We will be talking primarily about the Dogs in the SEC championship, what went wrong, where it almost, where Bama didn't look good, where Bama did look good, where Georgia looked good, where Georgia needs to improve going forward if we want to have a shot at the title. We won't really get into who we might want to match up with and things of that nature because we got a couple more weeks. Gotta say.
Did we shout out our lemon coach?
Ryman. Yeah, I thought I shot out Ryman earlier. But shout out to Ryman again. You know what I'm saying? The Ryman always supporting the channel, man. We appreciate that, man. So yeah, that's 8:00 Eastern time tomorrow. The Respect the Hedges guys be talking Georgia football and the Dogs win in the back-to-back SEC champions. And then on Wednesday, make sure 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, get on Shawty's Just My Damn Opinion, man. It's not just sports talk, it's some barbershop talk as well. You know what I'm saying? Got a lot of things to hit. And then on Thursday night, if you are a basketball fan, 9 p.m. Eastern time is Chuck and Buckets talking college women's hoops, man. We're talking the elite of the elite, primarily South Carolina women's basketball. Y'all see Asia Wilson in the back and those contenders in the SEC. So we try to be, Keith, we try to be on, but man, you know, life happens sometimes. But going forward, we're going to do our best. We will be back, me and Shawty at least. We might have Stat Guy with us next, our South Carolina resident South Carolina fan. He's ready to clean the whole lot of them out down there in South Carolina. It's a lot of topics. So, yeah, we'll be back next Monday, man. Get up in here, man. Appreciate all your comments, Keith, man. Like Shawty said, the comment section was on fire today, man.
Yeah.
You know what
Great
I'm saying?
comments,
like,
man.
that's what I like, man. Everybody coming in with their own perspectives, good perspectives, and things of that nature. That's why we like to do it, man. We don't care about the views. We care about the comments. So, y'all, we do care about the views, but we care about the people getting in the comments saying your 2 cents, man. So, appreciate that, man. For my guy, Shawty Parker, I'm Coach I. We'll see y'all tomorrow.